Hi, everyone. My name is Dido, and I am an intern at Compassionate Cancer Care Medical Group. This presentation is compacted of my work here for the past several months. So here's some background information about the company itself. Compassionate Cancer Care is the largest private cancer center serving Orange County and the Inland Empire. We're a patient-centered group offering board-certified hematologists and oncologists dedicated to evidence-based medicine and ongoing improvement in hematology and oncology care. With our exceptional research program and participation in clinical trials, we keep up with newest discoveries and options available to our patients. We also specialize in world-class treatments of most cancers, including but not limited to breast, bladder, liver, lung, lymphoma, and things like pancreatic and prostate cancer. And then I also wanted to touch upon some of the ranges of services we include, such as chemotherapy, infusions that include blood or iron infusions, advanced and targeted therapies, cancer prevention, pain control, and then things like on-site radiation treatment and on-site diagnostic imaging. So in regards to my recruitment at Compassionate Cancer Care, it's important to note that previous to interning at this place, I had been working there as a front desk medical receptionist for over 6 months. So Professor Freshman had initially connected me with Cambrian Home Care, in which I interviewed with and got the internship with them. However, I decided that I wanted to intern at the facility that I was already working at, one, due to convenience, and also I felt as though I needed to expand my knowledge in other areas there. So in order for this internship to happen, between my facility and Cal State Long Beach, a contract needed to be signed. And then I wanted to touch on how I found the job at Compassionate Cancer Care in the first place. So initially, I searched for jobs through Indeed, and then I turned in my resume and cover letter to my supervisor. And although the job stated that I would need at least 2 to 3 years of relevance experience, I decided to take my chances anyway. And I think that putting yourself out there and making yourself an asset is a significant characteristic to have. I was then asked to come in for an interview and be prepared with my resume and examples of school-related work due to lack of hands-on experience at a medical facility. So I provided my supervisor with schoolwork such as projects that we've done in our HCA classes. And then in regards to the selection process, after the contract was signed between the Healthcare Administration Department and Cal State Long Beach and my facility, I received notice from Professor Jamie that I would be able to complete my internship hours and experience here. So my orientation and onboarding required me to provide a negative COVID-19 test result in order to ensure safety to all other employees that were already working there. And then documentation was also taking. However, the process wasn't long for me at all. My supervisor really only asked for things like my California ID, my social security card, and a list of projects expected to be delivered in that learning agreement that we did do for HCA 481. And then my training period actually lasted for a period of 90 days. And that was weekly, Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. So major progress made on my projects outlined, agreed in the learning agreement was educating Vietnamese patients on where to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Due to part that I work in a hematology and oncology office, many patients that we serve have or are actually like immunocompromised. And these individuals have weakened immune systems and have a high risk of contracting COVID-19 severely due to that matter. And due to that, it's paramount for them to be able to access resources such as where to get the vaccine or to answer any concerns regarding it. So I was to provide them with places that they may sign up to receive their doses, such as Athena, UCI, and the local pharmacies such as Walgreens and Rite Aid. And then on top of that, many of them also had questions as to whether it was appropriate for them to get the vaccine. As many of you probably know, cancer patients aren't recommended to get flu shots, but as the reason behind this is that active vaccines can be dangerous for them as the active virus present in the vaccine runs the risk of causing illness. So it was important for my role to educate them that the COVID-19 vaccines are not live, Pfizer and Moderna utilize a new method that relies on teaching cells to make a protein or a piece of protein that triggers an immune response instead. And then I just reassure them that as the vaccine is not live, it is a component that triggers the body to create a memory for the specific virus and then creates antibodies. Another project outline that I took part in was acquiring patient authorization for medical records release that were HIPAA compliant. So I was responsible for providing new consults with new patient packets, which included a template form that authorizes our healthcare providers to release private medical records to parties under the patient's specificity. And then it was further my responsibility to make sure that these forms were filled out completely and correctly, including the correct date of birth, the patient's address, all supporting documents to be attached, and then whether the release of form required a power of attorney. So the federal law actually requires that custodians to ensure that that the patient consents to his or her protected health information being turned over to a third party. And if a carrier fails to obtain a properly executed medical release form, a records request is almost certain to be denied. As one can perceive, this is important to make sure that these authorization forms are filled out adequately due to that matter. And then furthermore, I have completed 3 to 5 departmental areas that I was to rotate through. I've so far done the check-in desk, the check-out desk, and then also the phone triage room. And then before my internship officially ends, my next steps would be to rotate through the authorizations room, where I will continue to help with copay assistance for expensive chemotherapy drugs. And then if needed, due to lack of availability of staff members, I may also be rotated through the billing departments. So a skill that I learned during my internship is attention to detail. Attention to detail refers to a person's behavioral propensity towards thoroughness, accuracy, and consistency when accomplishing tasks. As a competency, attention to detail is actually a very common performance criteria for highly processal work and roles with a significant qualitative focus. Because my internship is in the health field, the profession requires great attention to detail. For instance, avoiding missing critical signs indicating the illness and development of new symptoms. And then another skill I have learned was analytical and research skills. So analytical and research skills are in demand in my setting due to the environment being very fast paced. Analytical skills are important to have here because they allow me to find solutions to common problems, make informed decisions about what actions to take next, and what I should do in a situation where it hasn't been solved before. And then an instance of this would be, for instance, if a patient may be mistakenly scheduled for a new treatment cycle prior to seeing a physician for a follow-up appointment. So my clinic's protocol requires a patient to be seen for a follow-up appointment with the MD before completing a new cycle of treatment. That way they can talk about the progress of the patient and levels in their labs. So my analytical skills have taught me to discern when these mistakes in the system have happened and solve these issues by calling and informing the patient that they must come in on a certain time and date prior to their chemotherapy in order to stay on track. And then furthermore, my leadership skills have improved through the opportunity to train new employees in designated departmental areas. Adaptability was also touched upon through my internship as every day brought a new challenge. And then in order to succeed, obviously, I had to learn how to make things happen with the cards that I was dealt. And an important factor of leadership is to educate those following in their footsteps. So my public and written communication skills have yet to be worked upon drastically. However, I am certain that as the internship continues to progress, I will have the occasion to do so as I'm constantly talking and interacting with patients. So next I'll go on about my contributions and takeaways at Compassionate Cancer Care. My first is assisting over 100 patients daily with copay assistance on expensive chemotherapy drugs, answering calls and triaging them to the correct department. And this is important due to the sense of urgency and making sure patients are able to contact their providers in a timely fashion. Another contribution that I assisted with was retrieving medical records from labs or referring providers, collecting copays and bills, or insurance to exert currency at our facility. And then I also scan documents to electronic medical systems utilizing HIE. And my last would be educating patients on COVID vaccines and authorizing their approval to get one, as I mentioned previously. My key takeaways from my internship at Compassionate Cancer is how important attitude and mindset is in the healthcare facility due to it naturally being a very stress-related and hostile environment. A positive attitude in healthcare professions can impact actual job performance, from dealing with stresses of the job to crafting creative solutions to problems to managing interpersonal relationships with coworkers or having a positive demeanor is advantageous on many levels. So my next career development includes reflecting and refreshing on my learning and seeking a healthcare related job in underserved communities, specifically those that connect with my own personal experiences as a transgender male. And my goal in the end is to become an LGBTQ administrator and advocate. My next steps would include updating my resume and cover letter, my LinkedIn profile as well, and researching jobs and positions that align with my major and interests. Lastly, I would need to network with people in working in the position that I want to already. This can be done through, for instance, volunteering and creating a pathway for myself to be seen as a potential employee or internee. And then future skills to develop would be computer skills and healthcare applications and informational systems. Providing information to healthcare personnel at the point of care about a patient's individual risks is one of the most valuable benefits of learning healthcare systems. And another skill I want to strengthen is data analysis. This can be important for better targeting, knowing your target customer, and also discovering useful information in general. And also, my last one would be strengthening my foreign language frequency in order to achieve a larger crowd and a larger audience of individuals that I can connect with. So my growth and development will include staying up to date with new innovations in healthcare in order to provide the best quality of care possible with all the resources that are emerging. I also found that taking small but concrete steps are vital. The problem with not acknowledging small wins is that we end up diminishing our motivation, and our motivation is what keeps us on the right path. I also want to track the skills I have learned and developed, perhaps through utilizing something like Excel spreadsheet or just simply writing them down in my note pages. And lastly, to develop a supportive group as they offer lots of practical tips and advice for dealing with identified concerns, or in short, they provide solace and backing. This is the conclusion to my presentation. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment. Thank you.